Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The SEN City Classic is officially underway and some big matches going down last night. Finally getting to see this Evil Geniuses team in action. The same's true with NRG as well. And Sentinels also playing a couple of big games as obviously the favourites for this tournament with the strength of their roster probably on paper. Lots to get into today as ever because some very interesting results and performances from certain players who may or may not be staying on the starting rosters of these teams. Yay did rather well. He's on the left hand side here with Zelsis. Very much into your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Yay, having a good time and played well as well. Cool to see him back. Cool to see him happy. And I think it's really just a good thing for everyone that Yay is back in the scene in this manner. And as Elsa says, love that guy. Glad he is back in North America. Now, before we get to the SEN City Classic, a couple of quick things on the Gen.G Esports Series Asia 2024. Gen.G, they are in a tournament with some interesting teams. Not that many teams here, but again, as it happens with off-season tournaments, doesn't mean that it's not going to be interesting. So Gen.G played Trace Esports, of course, a team that did very well towards the end of the regular season this year. And yeah, but the new Gen.G roster, they took them down pretty comfortably indeed. So I would expect the Gen.G, the longer they go on, the better they're going to get. Obviously, the texture, Caron Munchkin staying. Obviously, ideally, they probably would have kept Meteor, but it just wasn't going to be possible due to money and budgets and, you know, buyouts and stuff from T1. And then, of course, DRX have made some changes. But Foxy9 coming in, I was always happy with. Yoman was the name that I've kind of more so questioned in terms of whether he's going to be the right pickup for the team, because he also can be a caller. So, and maybe it's going to work out very nicely indeed. This series was comfortable. The Ascent was 13-10, then the Abyss was 13-10 as well. So it wasn't like insanely dominant, but it was pretty impressive. Gen.G get over the line. However, as things stand, they are going to have some competition from the other teams in attendance because it's not just Gen.G, T1, and you know, Trace Esports. It's also Edward Gaming, the world champions. Now, as it stands, though, T1 have just taken the first map against EDG. So you guys know that I'm very excited for this T1 team with Meteor and Stacks coming in. I think these guys can be really, really good this year, and they've proven that so far. They did very well in the recent tournament that they played, but they are playing an EDG, which is not at full strength, because Kankang is not here, Smoggy is not here, and they're playing with two subs, I believe, from their academy. So Toast and Potter are coming in instead. Not, of course, like the Potter, of course, as EG's coach. But, yeah, so Simon, Toast, Potter, Chichu, nobody. That's their roster of 5 for this tournament. So, yeah, obviously you're expecting T1 to win in this circumstance with EDG playing with a couple of subs in there. Of course, not the World Championship winning roster. But still, Game 1 has gone their way. 14-12 for the Ascent split is coming up very shortly indeed. So it's going to be interesting to see how that tournament concludes. But let's talk about the big tournament in the Americas, right? Because the SEN City Classic got underway yesterday, and as Ye says, going up against 2 NA super teams today. Millions of fans, years of experience, staff catering to their every want. A temporary roster, we're really hoping to get at least 3 rounds. Temporary roster. So what is this all about, right? What is going on with Evil Geniuses? Because this team, we thought that it was going to be their team, but apparently it is not so simple as that. So FNS then says we'd be lucky to get more than 3 rounds versus Yeaster today. Of course, those guys, they team together famously on NRG, certainly Optic, and of course Envy before that as well, on the days where they did all rather well, of course, on that team a couple of years ago. And as Elsa says, just realised I get to see you today and all this stuff. So it was nice to see everyone kind of in the venue having a good time. And as ever, it's always very entertaining when Sentinels play on these tournaments. This I thought was a pretty funny shot too of the Sentinels guys. We know that there was a bit of drama. Was it at the World Championship? Was it another tournament of people like touching the trophy, because it's kind of considered to be bad juju, right? You don't touch the trophy until you've won it. That's kind of the idea. So you get close to the trophy, but you don't touch it until it's yours, as it were. So Zekard's got a bit of a cheeky grin on his face. John QT, bang, narrates pretty deadpan, and then Zelsis has got some sort of like interesting smirk here going on. But yeah, of course, he's trying to lift this trophy, and they've made a positive start, of course, last night to doing exactly that, Sentinels. But yeah, Sensei, they refuse to touch the trophy. But what's going on with this whole temporary roster thing, right? Because, you know, Yay is on EG. I mean, is he not? Like, here he is in the Evil Geniuses jersey, playing for Evil Geniuses. And it seems to make so much sense for him to come into the team with Potter, with the other guys. Like, they seem to want him there. But according to his bio, he's not an EG player, as in they've not signed him necessarily. This is like a temporary arrangement. I don't really know. But as it stands, Ye is not an EG player, and neither is Sim, but maybe for different reasons. So, you know, Sim still says TSM Valorant, right? Still TSM Sim here, like, and still affiliated here with other entities. But, you know, here he is with Evil Geniuses, getting ready for the tournament to go with, of course, Supermen, Derek, Nature, Ye, and then Sim joining along as well. So, yeah, what's going on? Because this is the team, but yeah, it's a temporary roster. So it's all a little bit confusing right now. There was a bit of talk as well on whether, you know, they can add a casting situation into play, because you know how it goes. The games are entertaining, but people are on the couch, they're just yapping, right? And some people want to watch it with casters. So Tarek's heard that and says, okay, maybe we could just add like a pure game stream with no commentary, or maybe we could, you know, bring in some casters for the future or whatever. I think it's relative. I like this kind of couch setup. It's kind of like what they used to do at the summits, the CS summits back in the day. I find it pretty entertaining. But of course, sometimes the matches are very intense. You actually want to, you know, be able to follow along. And Sentinels played Cloud9, first game of the day. They took him down relatively comfortably. This was a monster series here from Zekken. As always, to be honest, I think the question right now is, you know, there was a big Neon diff right here. And I know Oxy's good, but he's not quite Zekken level. And this series, he certainly wasn't Zekken level. Zekken game 1 was 30-14 on the Pearl, a 13-9 dub. Sunset was then 13-4. Another banger pretty much from the entirety of Sentinels here. Oxy had a bad time. But yeah, the Sunset and the Pearl, Neon getting used by both duelists, both maps. It does show that Neon is strong. But it's not like Neon is so strong that she's unstoppable. Obviously, you know, Zekken, yeah, in Zekken's hands, sure. But it's not like she's always going to be destined to drop loads of kills like Chamber was back in the day. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. But this is comfortable for Sentinels, right? I mean, John QT is exactly where he would love to be when he doesn't really have to do that much, because Bang, Narrate, and Zekken are taken over the lobby, which is exactly what happens. They then played Evil Geniuses, and they took them down 2-1. So this was closer, right? I mean, Cloud9, they look pretty good. They've just been boot camping out in Korea, right? So they should be pretty well prepared for the new season. But, you know, EG did a better job against Sentinels here. And yay, you know, 53-44 had a good series, really. They won the first map 13-8. The Abyss then went the other way 13-9. And then the Pearl, it was 13-7 to Sentinels. And the NDA tried his best. Gotta be said though, because Sim was on, you know, obviously Ye was using all sorts of stuff, right? He was on the Vise here on the final map, which is very interesting. Sim was on the Jet though, and, you know, so Sim was on the Jet and the Raze the entire time, and Ye was running the Vise and, of course, the Astra. So, yeah, Ye was switching it up, and Sim was the duelist, but was, again, absolutely no match for Zekken on the other side. And Sim was like just dying in all sorts of ways. It wasn't a good showing, really, right? I mean, when we talk about a temporary roster, if this team isn't yet locked in, Sim's not done much on day one to prove that they actually should keep him, right? Ye certainly has, I would say, like, but I think Sim, if the team isn't locked in, which it certainly isn't to our understanding, I think there's a good chance that Sim needs to level it up big time today and potentially tomorrow as well, because if he doesn't, EG might say, well, you know, we could do better here. So, yeah, EG, of course, are looking to bounce back in the final series they played, and they kind of did, but they eventually still went down to NRG. So NRG played their first game as a new lineup, Verno, Sommada, Ethan, FNS, and they did pretty well. Verno was especially impressive, but again, a pretty similar series here on the other side, really. I mean, Ye was running the Vise, the Astra, the Cypher, and Sim this time was on the Raze, the Neon, and the Jet. And okay, they sent it to a map 3, but again, Sim had a really tough day today, especially on the roles that he was running, right? Which, yeah, not exactly a great sign. But EG, like, I like their team kind of. I mean, they did show some promise, right? I mean, they go down 13-5 on the split. They then won the Abyss 13-6 before losing the final map 13-9. So none of these maps were especially competitive, really. Verno had a really good final final map here for NRG as well, which was impressive. So, I mean, look, the EG roster on paper isn't like a superstar takeover team, but Ye held his own and the other guys did pretty well. In addition, it's just their duelist kind of let them down yesterday, and that will be a big storyline going into the rest of the tournament. So let's have a quick look at how that's going to play out, actually, because there's a few more games happening today. They played the first couple of games. SEN are 2-0. EG Cloud9 is there for today. SEN NRG, NRG Cloud9, and then of course that determines who goes to the playoffs over the next couple of days. But yeah, very much interested your thoughts as ever and all of this stuff in the comment section below. A couple of clips to share for you guys as we close out the video, but hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome aboard, welcome aboard. Did Saucy's bald head ever turn you on stage? Like, what is this question? How? What goes through your fucking brains when you ask this fucking question?